Welcome to The Explainer. So, you're planning a move to Dubai, or maybe you just landed, and you've probably spent countless hours hyper-focused on the shiny logistics. Securing the right visa, finding the perfect neighborhood, navigating that zero-tax business setup. But today we're looking at something infinitely more important that we found in the research: the psychological reality of relocation for children.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer: the Dubai family reality, the hidden emotional toll, adjusting by age group, the school system maze, building essential routines, and finally, when to seek help.
Part 1. The Dubai Family Reality.
Okay, to really get what a relocating child is walking into, just look at these numbers. Out of a population of roughly 3.65 million people, an absolutely staggering 3.2 million are non-Emiratis. That demographic tilt is just massive. It means Dubai is overwhelmingly transient. When kids move here, they aren't just adjusting to a new house. They're dropping into a city where their new friends are also inevitably gonna leave at some point. That kind of attachment disruption is literally woven into the fabric of the city. Now, there's no denying the physical dream that draws us here, right? We're talking incredible safety, zero personal income tax, and those absolutely stunning villa communities. But look, this lifestyle comes with some heavy logistical costs. Securing a spot in a top-tier international school can run you anywhere from 40,000 to 100,000 dirhams per child every single year. And while you're stressed managing these massive hurdles, and let's be real, maybe trying to figure out which Friday brunch to book, something else entirely is happening with the kids.
Which brings us to Section 2, the hidden emotional toll. We really have to stop and ask this pivotal question. What is actually happening inside the minds of the children who move here? Think about it. As adults, we choose to relocate. We usually have a professional motivation anchoring that choice, like a promotion, a tax benefit, or launching a new business. But kids, they don't choose. Their entire social world, their best friends, their favorite teachers, it's all erased overnight, and totally without their consent. For them, this isn't some exciting career move. It's forced attachment disruption.
Clinical psychologists actually use a very specific vocabulary for this experience, and honestly, it's incredibly validating to read. The first term is third culture kid, or TCK. Because of Dubai's massive expat population, a child ends up developing an identity that sits somewhere between their passport country and their current home. And with that comes acculturative stress, which is the psychological weight of adapting to a whole new culture. Studies actually show this stress directly contributes to mental health challenges in TCKs. But hey, naming it is the very first step to managing it.
Moving on to Section 3. Adjusting by age group.
Let's start with the little ones, ages 2 to 5. Now, very young children simply don't have the vocabulary to sit you down and say, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed by acculturative stress, right? So their bodies and behaviors do the talking for them instead. You might start seeing sudden sleep disruptions, maybe some super clingy behavior, or really frustrating regressions, like a fully potty-trained child suddenly having accidents again. Listen, this is not misbehavior, it's a stress response. What the research shows they desperately need right now is a calm, predictable parent to provide what's called co-regulation. Basically, you're signaling to their nervous system that this strange new environment is in fact safe. The contrast as kids get older is pretty fascinating. For primary schoolers, say ages 6 to 11, the grief is very visible. They're right in that stage of consolidating friendships, so you'll likely see acute tearfulness completely mixed with oscillating excitement about their new home. But adolescents, ages 12 to 18, totally different story. They're smack in the middle of identity formation, so instead of acting out, they tend to internalize. They go quiet. They might dismiss the move entirely, withdraw socially, or show noticeable changes in sleep and appetite. It's so easy to miss because they aren't visibly crying, but make no mistake, that identity disruption is profound.
All right, Section 4, the school system maze.
Over 20. That's the number of different private school curricula currently operating in Dubai. We're talking British, American, International Baccalaureate, French, Indian, the whole shebang. So why does this matter? Well, because a child moving to Dubai might not just be dealing with the heartache of losing their friends, they might be thrown into a fundamentally different, incredibly high-pressure academic framework right in the middle of the school year. Suddenly, they're navigating completely new assessment methods and a totally foreign academic vocabulary. It's a massive cognitive load stacked right on top of all that social stress.
Section 5. Building essential routines.
Thankfully, The research outlines 4 highly actionable steps to build resilience and create some much-needed protective factors. Step 1. Rebuild routine before you chase novelty. I know it is so tempting to arrive in Dubai and rush straight out to the shiny beach clubs, but prioritizing a predictable bedtime is neurologically way more helpful for a stressed kid. Step 2 is naming the hard parts. Step 3. Facilitate low-pressure connection. Don't try to force a whole new friend group right out of the gate. Just aim for one simple playdate or a familiar sport. And Step 4. Stay connected to the past via video calls. This helps make the transition feel like a new chapter rather than a sudden amputation.
I want to circle back to Step 2 for a second, naming the hard parts. Clinical psychologists from the Kaya World Clinic highly recommend using this exact script with your kids. I know you miss your friends. That is a real loss, and it makes sense that it hurts. The literature notes that if we, as adults, act like the move is 100% positive and missing home just isn't allowed, kids learn to suppress their grief really quickly. Naming the pain explicitly, that gives them the literal permission they need to actually begin processing it.
And finally, Section 6. When to seek help. Okay, this timeline maps out the normal adjustment window, which is super helpful to see. During weeks 2 through 4, expect a messy mix of novelty and maybe some mild reluctance to go to the new school. Totally normal. By weeks 6 to 8, that acute normal grief should start to meaningfully resolve, and any of those behavioral regressions we talked about should start fading. But if you hit week 10 and beyond, and you're still seeing persistent distress, a complete inability to name even a single new friend, or an absolute dread of Monday mornings, well, that's when the window of natural adjustment has closed, and it's time to take action.
The clinic is actually very specific about clinical red flags. For instance, if school refusal persists for more than 4 weeks, especially if it comes with physical symptoms like stomach aches on school mornings, that absolutely needs your attention. Also, keep a close eye out for severe regressions in older kids, expressed hopelessness lasting more than 2 weeks, or a sudden, sustained drop in their grades. The data heavily emphasizes that early, evidence-based intervention is incredibly effective here. Seriously, booking a brief consultation isn't a failure, it's just getting an informed perspective when you need it most.
But look, the research leaves us on a really reassuring note here. Yes, the logistics of a Dubai move are massive, and the emotional toll on children is very real. We can't ignore that. But the data is crystal clear. Parental emotional availability and the early establishment of predictable routines substantially buffer those risks. These third culture kids, they are incredibly resilient when they're given the right foundational support.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. As your family unpacks those endless boxes and starts building a brand new life in Dubai, ask yourself, are you prioritizing shared, predictable, quiet routines over those shiny new distractions? Because honestly, it's that boring, everyday consistency that will truly make Dubai feel like home for your child. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really hope this helps you build a grounded, thriving life in your new city.